Hello there and welcome to bnettv.com. I'm Michelle Sklar. We're down here at the CTIA 2000 Wireless Conference, and I am joined by Ray Anderson of Bango. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Nice to be here.
Excellent. First of all, Ray, can you talk to us about Bango? Give us a little bit of background on the company and how it got its start.
Yes, certainly. We're about 7 years old, and we're set up because we believe the web is coming to mobile phones, and we want to make it as easy as possible for people who've got content or services to provide them to mobile phone users through the mobile web.
Fantastic. Now, can you expand a little bit on the types of services that you do offer consumers?
Right, well, the three most important things if you have a mobile website, which you either build yourself or get someone to build, is you need to get people to come to that site, you need to find out who they are, and you need to collect money from them. So we focus on those three things, and we're very famous for collecting money, which is obviously the heart of most businesses.
Fantastic. Now, is this an application that is an off-deck or on-deck application?
It's exclusively off-deck, so we focus on the content providers that want to go direct to mobile. So we expect that some content providers will deal directly with the carriers, but the majority will go direct to consumer, and that's where they want to be.
Okay, so if a person wants to make a purchase, how does the Bango system actually work that enables, I guess, the interaction of the user and the actual product itself?
Okay, the user will be typically browsing through a mobile site on their phone. They'll come to a page that will say, would you like to buy this video? They click on that link, and at that moment the person who owns the site transfers control to Bango. Behind the scenes, we identify where that user's from, the country, the currency, the language they speak in. The content providers told us how much money they want from that transaction. We put up a screen that asks for that money from the user in their language, in their currency, and ideally we have a single click that takes the money from their mobile operator's bill. And then when they click that button, we've taken the money from them, we've promised to pay to the content provider, we send them back to the content provider's site, and the content provider delivers them the video.
Now, can you comment on, I guess, the differences that perhaps you've experienced? I understand that you're a UK company, or at least you came out of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, we started in the UK. We're probably our biggest presence now is out of New York in the States. The US market's growing very quickly.
Right. However, the mass adoption overall of users in the mobile space is still greater outside of North America.
That's right.
And what are your experiences and how are you reconciling that?
Our experiences are that the US carriers are more cautious, possibly due to regulation or the just general environment in the States, about opening up. Singular took the lead a couple of years ago, and they're doing very well in terms of opening up, demolishing walled gardens. Behind them you've got Sprint, behind them you've got T-Mobile, and then sort of back of the pack you've got Verizon, who's still very, very close. And that means that if you're marketing to people, the market's a little bit more fragmented. You can't, your text message example, you can't say text potato head to this shortcode unless it won't work for Verizon users unless Verizon have seen the Mr. Potato Head site, which slows things down.
Right.
Outside the US, it's very easy. It's very open, so you can do that whatever you want. So that causes people to be a bit more innovative.
So you find that if there's more, I guess, caution.
Much more caution
on the North American side of things than there is in Europe.
However, one big however, that's starting to change because the search engine companies like Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, JumpTap, people like that, are starting to provide more open searches, and if a user then types potato head into a search, they can find the potato head site. And the beauty of that is that your marketing is focused on the people who are looking for what you want. So let's say one group of users can never get to your site, well, they can't get to the search engine, therefore you're not going to pay to get them there. So the ROI is much, much more effective. And we've seen over the last few months a real take-off in business in the States, primarily driven by search marketing, and we're only scratching the beginning. There's very, very few people use Google and Yahoo on their mobiles in the States today, and we think more will. There was a big announcement today by Yahoo, for example, that's really pushing that forward.
Okay, let's talk about the new, I guess, suite of products, if you will, that you've launched called Bango to Go, which, as I understand it, is a turnkey solution, if you will, for individuals or small companies that want to now put their business in the mobile space. And if you could speak to that.
That's right. Well, we've been providing a service that helps people with a mobile site make that mobile site profitable and get traffic and so on. So the first question people then come to and say, where do I get my mobile site? And if they don't want to build it themselves. It's like the early days of the web. And over the last few years, we've built a range of partners, about 53 partners who will build mobile sites really well, and they'll build them for people. The problem is deciding which one to use takes time. And one guy will say, I can do that for $200. Another one will say, I'll take you $200,000. And it's very, very difficult. So what we've decided to do is to put a stake in the ground and say, right, there's a sort of a mid-sized car. That's what you want. You want a mid-sized site. It'll cost you $5,000, and it'll be built in 3 months, and it will work from that point on. It'll include everything you need to go to market. And if people say, well, which mid-sized car will it be? We'll say it'll be from one of our range of mid-sized cars. It'll be a Toyota or a Ford or a General Motors. We'll choose the best one for you, but that's the price and that's what it will do. So it makes the buying decision much quicker, and it means people can get going. And we effectively make sure they get a good provider in their geography with their experience and whatever to go. So what we expect will happen is then we'll expand the range. We'll have like a baby car and a luxury limousine or something at the other end of the scale. But we're trying to make, I said about making, we're trying to make everything as easy as possible.
Right.
And ultimately, we hope that people will just have these site packages available. We're seeing them starting to arrive, so that won't be necessary. But at the moment, it is necessary because people want to just say, I want a site, how much does it cost?
Right. So with the internet, the idea of running a business online took a little while to catch on. Now people can't get enough of it, and almost anybody can, set up their own business and e-commerce and that type of thing. And how do you feel that that's going to translate to the mobile space? Are people cautious? Is this something that they're ready to embrace?
I think we're seeing the same as on the internet. If you remember on the internet, the first people with sites weren't the big guys. It was the small and middle-sized guys, or the new startups. In addition, we also saw lots of individuals building little mini sites as well. So I suppose eBay came out of that. It was lots of individuals selling things. And we're seeing the same happen on mobile. We've got a whole load of middle-sized companies who are active doing things. You've seen people like Jambo, which has been a very big success as a mobile company. And we're also seeing the emergence of a new breed of small people, individuals selling their content. We're seeing people taking photographs of their motorbike or their holidays or knitting patterns or whatever it turns out to be, uploading them onto their personal site and selling them for a few cents each. So they're making a return, like an eBay type model. And we're enabling that. We're actually not hosting the content, we're enabling those businesses to happen by making it as easy as possible to get to the web.
And so
now we think the same will happen on the mobile as happened on the
Right, and so in that
PC.
group of partners, if you will, in addition to, I suppose, the building of the website, what about the hosting, what about the bandwidth, and all those types of things that are really going to help make that individual's business successful beyond just the user interface that they see on a phone?
Well, the good news is the hosting and the bandwidth should be less of a problem than on the PC. For example, the mobile has a smaller screen, lower bandwidth. So although you might have more people visiting your site from mobiles than you would from PCs, the bandwidth problem isn't going to be a big deal. And hosting. The slight challenge is designing the site for a small screen experience where you haven't got a mouse to click things on the screen. That's the challenge. And the benefit that small people have is they haven't got much to say, and they can say it simply, and they can do something simple. And I think the big guys always have a problem, because what do they say on a very, very small screen?
Absolutely. Well, Ray, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We appreciate that. We've been joined here by Ray Anderson of Bango, and I'm Michelle Sklar for bnettv.com.